Hi everybody, and welcome back to the Inner Peace Workshop. This is episode 8, Mindfulness Practice 4, a focus on compassion. Now we've already gone over 3 different mindfulness practices. We can focus on our breath, we've done the mindful body scan, and we've done the mindful walking. In this particular episode, we're going to do something a little more abstract. We're going to actually focus on compassion. We're going to think about one person that we really need to try to develop compassion for. And that could be a student that you're having trouble with, maybe a colleague or administrator or a parent. What we want to do is try to develop within us this sense of compassion. And I think a lot of people, it's just it's an innate thing that you have, is to have compassion for other people. But sometimes we can develop antagonistic relationships. We talked a little bit about that last week, how relationships can sometimes break down and can cause us a lot of pain and cause other people a lot of pain. And sometimes the best way to improve those relationships is through this technique where we really bring that person to our minds, to our present minds, and we really focus all of our love and compassion towards that person, and we think about that person. And I don't know that anything magical happens, but I think what it can help develop within us is cultivate a heart of compassion towards people that sometimes it's difficult to have that heart for. And so I hope that you'll enjoy this particular episode of the Inner Peace Workshop. So let's go ahead and start Mindfulness Practice 4, a focus on compassion. First, we want to find a comfortable seat. And then we want to make sure our backs are straight. And we do this because we want to remain alert throughout this practice. Now, when we say we want to keep our back straight, that does not mean you have to hold it rigidly up and be super uncomfortable. What we want to do is just hold it straight so that we're not slouching forward and getting into a position where we might get drowsy. So what we want to do is give ourselves permission and settle into this. Try to calm the stormy waves in our mind right now a little bit. Let go of that to-do list. It will still be there. All the things that you have left to do today and this week, those things will still be there. You're not going to forget about them. Give yourself permission to take a time out right now. We take a time out to brush our teeth in the morning and at night before we go to bed, and that is dental hygiene. And right now we're going to perform some mental hygiene. So settle and be here for this practice now and let everything else go. And so we can take some breaths and focus on our breath. And remember, we don't have to control our breath. We're just going to shift our awareness to the breath and come back to center. Come back to this place where we're here now with this moment. And we do that by shifting the focus to the breath. Just take some nice, easy breaths. Again, you don't have to take anything that's labored. You don't have to hold it or anything like that. You can if you'd like, but just let yourself breathe naturally. And then we can do a quick scan from the head down to the toes and just search for any signs of tension. And we're going to let that tension go. And often we're going to find that tension in our necks and shoulders, or sometimes in our backs or bellies. Let that belly just be loose. And any signs of tension in your hands or your fingers and your toes, your knees, let any tension that you have in your body go. And just sort of check in with yourself. Feel yourself connected to the ground. And just breathe. And know that right here, right now, is right where you need to be. And nothing else that's on your agenda or your to-do list needs to be done right now. All you have to do is be here right now. And so, with this practice, what we're going to do is bring into our field of awareness in the present moment somebody that is a part of your life. And it could be anybody. It doesn't have to be someone that you're in conflict with. But I'm going to suggest that you try that. To maybe it's a student or a parent or someone in your family that you are having some difficulties with. I want you to bring that person into your awareness right here and right now. So I want you to imagine them right outside of yourself, maybe right about a foot or two from your heart right now. Then I want you to really get an image of what that person looks like. What are they wearing? What are they doing? And just bring them into your awareness and your attention and focus on this mental image that you have of that person. And what I'd like you to do now is when you breathe, I want you to focus on the middle of your chest. And I want you to imagine that you are breathing through the middle of your chest and that the breath is coming in through your heart and out of your heart. And just take some breaths and imagine that the breath is going into the middle of your chest and out of the middle of your chest. And I want you to imagine that the person that you have in mind, who is right outside of your heart, right outside in front of you, is breathing at the same rate and at the same time you are. And they're breathing with you. And if some emotions about that person come into your field of awareness, don't try to push them away or reject them. Allow yourself to feel them and just notice what it is you're feeling. Don't judge it. You don't need to label it. Just notice how you feel. Don't try to push it away or reject it, because we don't want to turn away from that. We want to be present with whatever feelings arise. We're going to stay here with those feelings, and we're not going to bury them or reject them. We're just going to be here with them. And thoughts about that person may come up as well. Perhaps arguments or negative experiences that you've had with that person, or even positive experiences and positive things that were said. Just whatever comes up, don't push it away. Just notice it. Just notice it. Be aware of it. And then focus your attention on the breath coming in and out of the chest. And know that that person is there with you, in front of you, breathing with you through the heart. And I want you to imagine that with each breath that you take, the compassion that you have for this person grows. That the love that you have for this person grows. And with each out breath, any negative feelings, any antagonism that you have in your heart is being released and let go. So we're breathing in compassion and love into our heart and building that heart of compassion with each in-breath and letting go of anything within our hearts that is negative or antagonistic. Anything that would degrade our sense of compassion for this person. With each in-breath, we are taking in all of the good qualities about the person that's in front of us. With each in-breath, we are taking in the positivity that is within the person, that is the focus of our awareness, their essential humanity, and we're letting go of concepts that we have about this person that are negative as we breathe out. We're breathing in their humanity and breathing out all of those mental constructs that we have of the person that are negative. So if it's a student and they've misbehaved, we're letting go of our notion of them as a quote-unquote bad student. We're going to breathe in through our hearts everything positive, everything that cultivates this heart of compassion, and we're softening the heart. You may have this sense that your heart is hard when you reflect on this person, when you bring this person into your field of awareness. You have a hardening, and it causes these negative emotions to arise within you. And with each in-breath, we are softening that. And every part of the heart that is responsible for hardening it is released on the out-breath. So the entire cycle of breathing in and out is softening the heart. And that softening of the heart allows us to feel more and more compassion and love for this person, because we recognize that they're essentially very, very much like us. They have fears. They make mistakes like we do. They want to be loved and accepted like we do. And we're just going to keep breathing through our hearts, in and out. Breathing in light, tranquility, and a softening of the heart. Breathing in positivity, and each out breath is letting go of negative mental constructs about the person in your field of awareness. Letting go of the elements that harden your heart towards this person. And I want you to imagine that this person is in front of you now, and they've been doing the same practice. And they open their eyes and they look at you and they smile. And I want you to smile back at them. So I want you to continue breathing through your hearts, and I want you to just smile. Smile at this person who's in front of you. And I want you to imagine that your heart and their heart is now connected, and that love and compassion flow back and forth from your heart to their heart. That you want to share with them the love and the compassion that you have now cultivated in your heart. And you want to have a strong human connection to this person that is positive and filled with love and compassion. So we just continue breathing like this. Focusing on that connection from our hearts to theirs, imagining that it's real and that there's a transfer of love and compassion through that connection. In just a minute here, we're going to bring our session to an end. You can continue doing this for as long as you'd like. So if you'd like to continue, just click pause and continue this practice. But for those of you who would like to bring this to an end, bring this to a close for now, we're going to just slowly shift our awareness back to where we are, to our seats. We're going to go back through our bodies and do another scan of our bodies and look for any signs of tension and let that go. And then bring our awareness back to our breath. And just sort of be here with whatever we feel, whatever thoughts come to our minds. Again, not trying to push them away. Just notice this moment and accept it and be with it. Whatever that moment is for you right now, just be with it. And you can go ahead and open your eyes if you had them closed. And before we end this, the main thing that I want to tell you is whoever it was that you had in your awareness through this practice, the next time you are around that person, I want you to note if there's any changes in the way that you relate to that person and the way you interact with that person. I don't want you to have expectations that there's going to be a miraculous shift in the way your relationship is with this person. I want you to just notice how it is without the expectation. And then what you can do is continue to practice this. You can shift to a different person, or you can keep this same person as the focus of your awareness during the practice. And if conflict does arise with the person, if there's antagonism that you notice building, I want you to try to recall that image of you and this person connected through your hearts, and see if you can imagine that as you're interacting with the person, imagine that connection still being there, and see if that can help you put a wedge of mindfulness in between what this person is doing or saying and how you would react, or rather respond to what this person is saying or doing. And to put that device, insert that device into the interaction so that it hopefully can help shape your response to the person in a way that you are exhibiting the love and compassion that you've cultivated in this practice throughout the exchange. So that's it. Mindfulness practice 4, focus on compassion. I hope that you now have a sense of how this type of mindfulness practice can start to cultivate that heart of compassion within you. The relationships that we find the most difficult, a lot of times we can get into this chronic pattern of them being negative and continuing to, instead of developing a heart of compassion, we harden our hearts and we feel more and more antagonistic towards that person, and then that's reflected in them, and then the relationship continues to break down. So instead, what we're going to try to do is break that cycle through this practice. As always with this particular episode, episode 8, there's a handout that's linked below the video. And that handout has reflection questions for this week, a journal entry, and your homework. Now, your homework this week is to bring to mind each day someone that you interact with at school, and to do the mindfulness practice that we talked about today, the mindfulness of compassion, and to focus on compassion and developing compassion for that person. It can be the same person each day or a different person each day. That's really up to you and what you feel is right, what you feel you need to develop within you. But I want you to do this particular practice at least 10 minutes per day, and then also incorporate 10 minutes of one of the other 3 practices, whether it's your walking practice, your mindful body scan practice, or your focus on your breath, that particular practice. So we're looking at least 20 minutes per day, and if you can do more, that's great. And again, as always, if you can only fit 5 minutes in each day, as long as you're making it a habit to do it each day, it's a lot like brushing your teeth and making sure that you're taking care of that mental hygiene and not just your dental hygiene. So I hope that you'll give at least a few minutes to this each day, if not more, 10, 20, 30 minutes if you can find the time. Until next week, you can always contact me, toddscholl@gmail.com, and visit the website at theinnerpeace.weebly.com. That's theinnerpeace.weebly.com. We'll see you next week on the Inner Peace Workshop.